Hello, everybody. All right. Hope you guys have had a good week. Let me see. I'll be tweaking, making some adjustments like normal. I'm going to see if I can find the video in the fan club. So just bear with me for a second. I know some people, well, we're going to have to get some participants as well. So far, it's just me. Okay, so let me see if I can find, here we go. Found it. Make sure the computer is muted. Excellent. Okay, I see somebody just jumped on. Welcome. I'm going to wait for some people to jump on. You'll have to forgive me. My my allergies are really acting up, so I'm very congested. I usually always have my water bottle with me, so if you hear me slurping, that is why. Okay, see a few more people on. I'm just going to start pulling all my stuff together here. I was kind of doing some prep work. Goodness gracious, excuse me. And I will show you all the supplies again. I had them in that picture. You'll have to let me know. Make sure you comment. Let me know if you like seeing my sneak peek shot that I post the day before my live. So the Thursdays before my live, I usually take that picture of everything I'm using and pre-colored stuff. Let me know if you like that kind of stuff. It helps me. It takes a little bit more time to make sure I get that in time for you. So if it's helpful, great. If not, then I guess I won't bother. Hello, Alyssa. I hope I'm saying that right. So those of us that do the lives for you guys have been keeping an eye on the posts that Audra put up asking for the things that you want to see us share with you, any of those processes. So the top thing is always coloring. I actually stopped using Copic markers, not because I didn't like them, but I was on the Spectrum Noir design team for a little while, so I switched to their products instead, and I was happy enough with them that I sold all of my Copics. So just know I've used Copics. I think they're fabulous. I use Spectrum Noir exclusively now as far as alcohol markers go, and I obviously love them. So whatever you're using, that's awesome. We can work with that. And that's why I don't specify you have to use this certain thing. Just bring a coloring medium you like. I think that's what's key. I don't want anybody to stress out that they don't have the exact right thing. Okay, so I see we've got a couple more people on, so we might as well get started. Again, I don't like these things to run too long because I know it's time consuming to sit here with somebody. So we'll try to make this go as quickly as possible. As you saw in my sneak peek pic that I posted yesterday with the live, hi Pamela. We will be coloring this ferocious shark from the Chomp stamp set that came out last summer. Love this set. Oh, I love this set. And so the card we'll be working on today, I'll probably actually save and send to my dad for his birthday this summer. One of the cards I made from the release last year was sent to my dad for his birthday last year. So again, and keep in mind, all of the products that you see, with one exception, I'll explain that. All of the products you see me using on the live tonight are going to be discounted for you lovely people. You have to be watching the live. The discount code will now be changing. So I'll go ahead and give you that discount code right now. It is 03 live with Marsha. Okay, let me just make sure I said that right. Let me double check what sweet Audra sent me. Yes, 03 live with Marsha. That is the code for tonight's live. So again, we're using Chomp. We are using this Ocean Scene die. Oh, great. I'm having video troubles again. We're using the Wave Craft die, the Mardi Gras Beads Stencil, the Waves Stencil. Guys, this is highly underused. This thing is pretty amazing. And the Card Builder Basics die set that just released. This one will not qualify for the discount for the live just because it's a brand new product, but I wanted to use it because it is a Kindred product, and I mean, I think it's obviously awesome. So those are the Kindred products we will be using tonight. So let's go ahead and get started here. I hope I'm still recording here. I still see that I am. The video just disappeared across from me on the laptop, so I'll just try to be monitoring the comments. So as I showed in my peek yesterday for the post, we will be coloring Mr. Chompers over here. That's what I'm gonna call him. Sweet Mr. Chompers. I know the image is really not that complicated. And I'm sorry if you feel like I'm failing you for not coloring something a bit more complicated, but I wanted to use Mr. Chompers today, so that is what we will be playing with. Okay? All right, I'm gonna show you a new technique that I've been doing here recently. And I have done this in the past, and it hasn't always worked. So you might laugh at the way I do this now, but you'll see the difference in the end, okay? So let me explain. So what I do is I grab my image, so in this case, again, Mr. Chompers. Again, forgive me, I'm super congested. I know I was last month too. Come here, Mr. Chompers. So I have just a scrap of paper. I have one of those plastic, here, I'll show it to you. It's over here on the side. These, what do they call these? Project sleeve things. And I keep all my white paper scraps in here. So I pull from here and I try to make little things fit because my daughters use a ton of paper too because they like to craft, because mommy likes to craft. So I grab scraps of funky shaped pieces of paper all the time. All right, let me read what this is. So Kelly is asking, how do you know you have a Kindred problem when you have everything you need for the demo? Yes, Kelly, yes. And I don't call it a problem. I think it's amazing. So I don't even want to show you all the Kindred things I have. I've been a fan and with this team for, oh my gosh, Audra, it's been like 2.5 years. So I feel you there, but I don't think it's a problem at all. Okay, so here's my little trick. Because I am using alcohol markers, you need an alcohol-friendly ink, of course. I'm using the Spectrum Noir one. This is their Finesse alcohol-proof dye ink. You could use any dye ink, in fact, not pigment inks, but any dye-based ink. Memento, Tuxedo Blank ink is a popular one. There's a million out there. I'm not going to try to tell you which one to buy. There are a lot out there. Okay, so as you see, it's not perfect. You see there's some fuzzies there. I don't care about that, and I'll explain why. So we're gonna use this just kind of as a rough outline. I'm gonna wipe off my stamp, but I'm leaving everything right here on my platform. And you might be thinking, Marsha, what is your problem? This is insane. Yes, it is insane, but it's wonderful. Because after we're done coloring, we are going to stamp over with VersaFine Clear ink. This ink is the best. It's a one-stop shot, it's crisp. You see how sharp all those lines are? That's because I did a final stamp over with this. Now, in the past, what I would do, have a nice, perfectly butted, cornered piece of paper shoved right in the corner of my platform. I didn't remove the stamp. I'd take it out, color it, pop it back in here, and then stamp again, you know, for that nice, beautiful clean. And you know, somehow it wasn't in there exactly right. And then you end up jacking up your image that you spent all this time coloring. So you know what? I just leave it in my Misty now. Whatever your stamp positioner is, okay? Just leave it in there. I color right in there. If you're gonna work with the image right away, color it, and then now I'm stamping it. Because guess what? I'm not moving my paper. So I'm not gonna have that problem. All right, so let's work on Mr. Chompers. Okay, again, for those of you that use Spectrum Noir, I am using the brown gray blend. Let me see, I can't see it on my laptop, so forgive me. Brown gray blend, the brown gray shades, which is just darker brown grays. Pale pink blend, just the softest pink. Dark red blend, just that lighter red. And then ice blue blend, the lighter tone. It's still a little bit too blue for me, but I want it to be consistent and just use all tri-blends and then a really juicy blender marker, because that's what helps you kind of fade some of this out. I swear by having a blender. Everybody needs to have a juicy blender, okay? And when it starts to dry out, I legit keep my colorless blender solution, and I just pop the nib in there, juice it up, and then use it. Oh, Chompers is trying to swim away. Okay, so that's what we're working with. If you have Copics, what you're gonna wanna use are your, not the cool grays, see, it's been a while since I've used them, the warm grays. So we're probably gonna be using anywhere from like a W0 up to maybe a W3, W4. Hi, Taylor. So that, to give you an idea of what we're working with there, and just any pinkish red and a pale blue. So, I don't know, just a single 0, any of those lighter blues. Okay, we're not gonna be that particular here. This is just a Mr. Chompers swimming out there in the water. Okay, so now I'm gonna start with my, we're gonna break the rules here, and my markers are starting to dry out, so you're also gonna have to be patient with that too. Let's see, any reason you switch from Copic to Tri-Blend? That's what Kathy is asking. So earlier, Kathy, the reason why I made the switch was simply because I was on the Spectrum Noir design team. So while I was being given product to use, I started just using those, and I liked them. I just want to make sure this one's not gonna be too dark. Did I grab the right one? See, and that's why you test them. Maybe I do want to use that one. We're gonna start with the lighter shades first. So that is why I switched. And then because I was just using them for the team and I was happy with them, I sold all my Copics. These are also cheaper. That's also a factor. Okay, so I'm gonna just use the darker from the brown gray blend, okay? So I'm gonna leave Mr. Chompers pre-colored here for us because I am not going to fussy cut him out for the card. And you see, I am really kind of a bit messier of a colorer. I think it's, I don't know, that's my style. So all I'm going in, I'm just adding the darker tones first here. You could replicate this with pencils. Of course, you could go backwards. Everybody's got a different way of doing this, right? This is gonna be kind of funny. I don't usually color to make sure that you guys can see what I'm coloring. Let me move this like this, because I feel like I'm off camera, but again, I can't see it because the silly laptop is not cooperating. So now I'm just gonna go around the innermost line here closest to his belly meat. Because yes, we call it belly meat. Oh, good, Kathy. I'm glad that you appreciate this. I don't often do this. I know so many other people show how they color, so the last thing I want to do is do something you guys are tired of seeing. So with the Tri-Blends in particular, sometimes these caps get stuck. I'm just gonna pop them all off, okay? So again, for those of you that are just jumping on, I'm using the brown gray blend, okay? So I went in with the darkest tone. Now we're gonna go to the mid-tone. That's what's beautiful about these things. I'm not on the team anymore. I'm not being told I have to promote these. I just do genuinely like them. I know Audra also is a fan of the Tri-Blends. Several people are. I think Jennifer Pargrose, she likes to use the Tri-Blends as well. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about them because I loved the brush nib of the Copic so much, but you adjust, and it worked out. Now these are my markers that are starting to get dry. So now I'm just going in with the lighter one. And you see, this is really just not rocket science, especially because it's just a Mr. Chompers. I'm not coloring a person. I try to use sets that Audra wants us to try to use. And I was happy to oblige because I love this Mr. Chompers set. So as you see, all I'm doing is just kind of pulling that out a little bit there. I hope you guys can see that well enough. I'm gonna go in again with that darker tone, just a bit. And I'm not gonna blend some of this out too much because I wanna leave some of that darker there. And you guys will laugh when I work on release projects. I color multiples at a time because goodness knows when I go back to color it again, it will never look the same. My shading and everything won't be the same. So I'm just going back to that lightest shade, okay? And I'm just pulling some of that out just to kind of blend, as you see, that darker tone. I'm not going dark to mid to light again. I already did that. Who's got time to do all that? And I'm being more exacting now because you guys are watching. Okay, so the only difference between this guy and Mr. Chomper's pre-colored is I did try to add some of the blue to that, because sharks do tend to have more of a blue-gray, but again, I wanted to use the tri-blends. There are blue-gray tones, marker colors available, singles, but again, I just wanted to try to keep this easier. So we are using the lightest blue from the Ice Blue blend. This is a bit bluer than I would really care for, but if you can see, we're getting just a bit in there. I'm being very careful with the tip. I'm not pushing down too hard, and I just want to add some, mostly in these darker areas. You see my marker still laid open here because I want to pull some of this blue out, okay? And again, I'm going to be using that, the lighter warm gray marker. So I guess we aren't using the darker one at all. Ugh, I hate trying, forgive me if I get my head in here. If I get off camera, please let me know. I can't see what I'm doing up here. I don't know what the deal is here lately with these lives. I know I'm not the only person that has issues with them. I keep hearing more and more people. Okay, so if you can see what's going on here, this guy's a little darker. I'll see if I can peek up here. So all we've done is kind of built up some of the gray, the warmer gray here on him. Oh, good, Heidi, I'm glad. And see, Kathy, you can see that little bit of blue adds just a little bit something more there, okay? So we use that, the warm gray on his body. You can see some of the darker shading here. And that little bit of blue just kind of adds a little bit something extra there, okay? And again, I see you guys commenting and asking questions about the tri-blends. So that is why I wanted to stick with these, okay? We do see what you guys are saying. Oh, and this is why I use, see, the dark brown gray shades. I'm just using the darkest one. You could use a dark pencil, a black, whatever you've got. I'm just gonna lean in a little bit because I don't want to color his teeth on purpose. But that's also why you have a white gel pen, right? Oy, oy, oy. Oh, the cat. Luckily, she's not down here trying to attack my feet like last month. So I am not going to try to do any funky shading here in his mouth. Oh, the cat found the marble. I'm just trying not to color his teeth. Well, you could make him a pirate, chompers, right? Black out a tooth, or give him a nice fancy gold tooth. That would be kind of fun. Give him a grill. Boy, I can see. And that's where the nibs on these can be tricky. I will go clean up his teeth later with a gel pen. Okay, let's see. Got things popping up here. Okay, so we've colored the inside of his mouth. Now let's work on some of his belly shading here. I see that I'm still here. So let's see, let's go back to this light brown gray blend, just that lightest warm gray that you have. Okay, as you see, I just kind of worked some of the color in here. And then with the light blue again. Now, here's kind of a cool tip. If you don't want that color to go on as strong, don't call me crazy yet. I'm gonna make sure my blender is super, yeah, see, it's kind of dry. We're gonna juicy this up. You see, this is what the pros do. I'm dripping it out. See, the pros do that too. Thanks, Tina. Okay, so I just super soaked up the nib on my colorless blender, okay? You see where, I don't want it to be super dark here. Obviously, it's his white underbelly. So what I'm gonna do is come in here, and you see how wet that is, right? I'm gonna kind of pre-soak, blend out better for us because that first layer was the blender, okay? So I'm gonna come in here and using that super soaky wet blender, I'm gonna pull right around in here, okay? And it's just really wet, and I've got the black underneath it, so it's not gonna look quite that dark there on his belly meat. I'm not gonna snap this down all the way, okay? Now I'm gonna go back to this, the lighter blue here from that ice blue blend. And I'm gonna try to be careful because it just, ooh, it got so blue on me. On my tester one. But once you kind of see how this card comes together, you won't even see it that much once we get it down. All assembled rather. Okay, so now juicy blender. Now we're gonna try to pull some of that blue out of there. Or dilute it around the edges, if you will. Okay. See? That's what we got. That's what we're doing. Again, we're gonna do something similar here to the mouth. I did the blender first on this one, but then I ended up having to color his teeth more. So for this, Mr. Chompers, I'm just gonna go in with that lightest pale pink blend, but any light pink that you have. Forgive my head if it gets in there. I'm just gonna go right around the edge here, and we might just leave him pink and dot in some of the red for this Mr. Chompers. Okay. So we got some pink there. This lightest red, again, this is the lightest one I have in the tri-blends. You could probably use that, the pinker one, but I did want more of a red, so just try to be careful. Ooh. Right up against there, okay? Again, that pink. Kind of pull some of that out a little bit so it's not super right there. And then back in with our juicy blender, okay? And don't get all freaked out if it gets on his teeth. It got on my teeth over here. You see this one looks a little more bled out than this one. They're all gonna look a little different. Don't kill yourself for that. Okay? It's just a ding-dong shark. In fact, where's my white gel pen? This is where we can go in and dot it. Again, if we go over that black line, we're stamping over. So my angle is really tough here, so just bear with me. So we're gonna try to, now if you wanted to leave bloody teeth, you definitely could. That adds to the effect. And Mr. Chompers means all business. Okay, so I'm gonna let that gel pen dry a little bit. I'm gonna add dots to his pupils while that's drying. I'm also waiting to make sure that my blender is all dry because I don't wanna stamp my final layer of ink that will bleed with an alcohol ink over a really saturated image that's colored with alcohol ink. I wanna make sure it's dried. Okay, so we're gonna add these little eyeball dots on Mr. Chompers. I'm not gonna add on that one because we're gonna stamp over it. Okay, so this is dry enough for me. You can see we've got, maybe we could probably blend that out a little bit more. I'm not worrying about that. Some things just, if you wanna be that particular, that's fantastic. I'm not going to be. And not just because I'm doing this with you guys, but I honestly would be okay with that anyways. Okay, I'm not trying to pretend craft with you guys on these lives. I'm legit telling you what I actually do. Yes, this is the original one. And no, I did not go out and buy the new one just because it had a different feature. It still works the same for me. So I did not want to go out and spend the extra money while mine still works. Now look at the difference. Do you see that, guys? See? Isn't that incredible? Do you see how sharp and crisp that image is now? It's perfectly lined up and it pops. This is the mini. I'm sorry, I thought you meant original. This is the original style because they have a Misty 2.0 now, but this is the mini Misty, yes. This is the mini Misty, Pamela's asking. So I hope you guys can see the difference there because this is a game changer for me. doing this. That and then hiding stray marks with a white gel pen. Those are my favorite secrets. So anyways, now you see how amazing this looks. We colored them up. We did that final stamp. We just colored it right in our Stinkin' Misty. And now it's super crisp. And there we go. See, Mr. Chompers 1 and 2. And I actually think the one we just did, number 2, looks better than the one I did beforehand. But he's gonna go swim off to the side. My dot shifted. These things smudge if you don't let them dry. I should put googly eyes. If I had tiny googly eyes, I would totally do it. So we're gonna give him some grrr. Well, they don't grrr, I guess. What sound do they make? Look at my finger. It's smudgied more than I wanted. Yes, see, some things I'm particular about. This is one of them. I do not want a smudgy eyeball. Okay, that's better. Yeah, they definitely don't go grrr. You need that stamp pad. Oh, in the Misty, you need the stamp pad? Yeah. Mine came with it, so it wasn't anything additional that I bought, but I've had it for a while. Okay, so now let's assemble the card. Let me pull original Mr. Chompers over. Thank you. Yes, this ink is the crap. It was, what was it first? And I had that one until my pad dried out, and then I tossed it because I had this one. It's essentially this same, well, this is like a reinvented version of it. Just the VersaFine. I guess it was just called VersaFine, but this ink is amazing. Oh, you meant the ink pad. Okay, yeah. Yes, that ink is amazing. Okay, so to briefly tell you what I did ahead of time, I used the largest rectangle, stitched rectangle from the Card Basics die. And I used another brand that I had, slightly smaller rectangle, so that I could create a frame, okay? So we're gonna be building our scene within this frame, but I wanted some dimension and layer, so that's why I needed the frame and didn't just build it flat out on my card base, okay? So again, outer stitched, and then use a slightly smaller rectangle to create this frame, or different companies do have frame dies that do this for you. And yes, Trisha is right. You can get, they call it a mouse pad or something, I believe, or you could actually get a mouse pad and cut it to fit inside your Misty. Or fun foam. There's a lot of different things you can do. You probably already have something. That packaging styrofoam, that thin sheet stuff, some people will use that under as well, because it just gives you just enough give. Okay, so we create a frame. I went ahead and backed it. If you guys have watched my lives, I love this coaster. They're coaster blanks. I use these instead of foam tape. I still have some foam tape I'm trying to use up, but what I love about these is they don't have adhesive sticky on it, so I jack something up. I just use wet glue. It's easier for me to work with. It's a little bit thinner, and it's eco-friendly. And I can cut it to whatever size I want, and you can die cut that stuff, so that's really amazing too. Okay, so I went ahead and put a single layer of the coaster on the back of my framing piece. And remember I told you guys we need die cut, wave die cut pieces, one from blue, one from Vellum. So I used the wave cuts again that we have, the Waves Craft dies, and I used each one because I didn't want them to match up, right? I mean, waves don't look the same when you look in the distance. So I used the smaller wave for the front piece because the Vellum's gonna go in front, and the one with the larger wave crest for the back. I used the Mardi Gras beads stencil to create some fun aquatic movement. I used Blueprint Sketch and Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide inks. I started with blue paper. You've seen me do that before on previous lives. You don't have to start with white and then build a color. If you're using blue, just start with blue. It just makes it go faster. So then I build up the blue, and then I used the stencil. I added some, I kind of used my brush. I kind of pulled in around the corners like this so I could have some darker shading here. And I shifted the stencil to kind of, so you see some that are lighter here and then darker here. And if you didn't know, you can stencil on vellum. Just make sure your ink the ink on your brush is not super wet, because vellum can be very finicky sometimes, especially with wet. It'll start to warp. But if you don't have too much ink on that brush, just lightly brush it on. And I actually used the back side because I didn't want it to be super strong, if you will, on this side. I wanted it to be a bit more muted, and just slowly work it and check it, slowly work it and check it. And now, even though we're gonna pull, but see, you get so much cool, I think it looks cool. So we've got a couple different dimensions of stuff going on here, right? Thank you, Miss Buck. I know it's Layla, but I see the, I don't know how to say it with it, just L-E-Y-L. So if I try, I'm gonna mess it up. Madame Buck, I'll say that. So we have these two pieces here, and then using the, was it Ocean Builder craft die? Forgive me if I'm remembering that one wrong. Thank you. I think it looks pretty cool. I cut this out from white, and then I just used whatever ink, because you know I'm fond of doing that, off my brushes. I pulled pink, orange, and green, and some brown, and I just used whatever ink was left on them and just smudged it all over there, okay? It's like Gale, but with an L. Like Gale. Oh, so Lael. Lael? Okay, so Lael Buck. Thank you. That actually helps. Okay, so to build this layer is going to go obviously in between here. So you're seeing how we're doing this, okay? And then my card base. Top folding, could be side folding, it doesn't matter. A2 sized card, depending on how you wanted to landscape your card. Of course, I'm doing it vertically. So using the waves stencil, I love this. It's got such, it's so funky cool. I've used it in the background for a rising sun before, and I thought it would be fun to do that again, especially with the shark coming above the water, Mr. Chompers. If I had red spray, I would totally do that, you know, for blood. I know that sounds kind of gory, but come on. I mean, it's Mr. Chompers. That's what they do. Okay, so I just took the waves and some squeezed lemonade on my brush and just very lightly. I tried to be careful not to get it too close to the perimeter. See, so you can't, I mean, if it's tripping over the edge a little bit, but you barely can see it, okay? I really wanted to try to keep all the color within this framing piece. And again, you can use a color for your frame. I liked the look of the white on the white base, even though we got everything going on in here. Okay, so that's pretty much what I did to build that background. And again, all of these things are gonna be discounted with my discount code, which is 03 Live with Marcia. My name is spelled M-A-R-C-I-A. Okay. Save the card guts. You can use that for something else. And I kept some of the blue. This is what this looked like before I inked it. And I reserved this in case I wanted to stamp the sentiment on here, because again, everything matchy-matchy. I'm gonna move things out of the way. I won't be doing the sentiment during the live. I want to kind of tidy it up. 30 minutes is my goal. I've already kind of gone over that a little bit. Sorry. I need some water. Again, use what you have. There are, and you don't have to even use a Mr. Chompers. This would be amazing with, we've got an awesome sea witch in a set. We have a mermaid that you could potentially use in this set. We have scuba diver images, I believe. I can't remember the name of these sets, so forgive me. But you could do this with any number of critters, okay? And we, especially having, I mean, it's gonna be so cool. He's gonna be both in and out of the water. And you can also reverse this, okay? Pretend you cut this with a cloud layer. So now we're going this way, right? So instead of this being blue, you could do a very soft blue. That actually would look pretty cool. A very soft blue, or even a white layer that you ink up blue a little bit with clouds, okay? Cut these with clouds, have them like this. You could have something dropping out of the sky, you know, in and out between somewhere. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do here. And that's what my whole idea was here. Okay, so let's build our card. Put this the right way. First thing first, we want to put the vellum down. And I should have brought score tape. Oh well, hopefully this won't warp it up too much. Score tape would have been ideal. But alas, I did not think of everything. Sorry, you guys use score tape because it definitely won't warp your vellum. Note to self. Yes, thank you, Tina. Dive Right In is the name of the scuba diver set. She worked on that set for release and she did amazing projects with it. Absolutely amazing. Holy crap, yes, they were amazing. I'm just remembering all of them now. She made a treasure chest. I mean, come on, guys. A treasure chest. Sheesh. And she gave you all the directions on how the heck she built it, too, so. If you guys are interested in seeing that, comment, and I'm sure we can get her to post that link. Let's see. How do you visualize all this to create the concept? So many cool aspects. Well, Lael, to be completely honest with you, my brain goes bonkers. So when Audra suggested using Chomp for the live, your brain starts kind of thinking, what can I do that's different? What can I do to inspire you guys? Oh, you know what? That should have gone before that layer. Ruh-roh. Oh well, I still think it looks good. I should have put the vellum down and then that border layer. Oh well. So instead of giving it some space, we are gonna just glue this on here like this. So then my brain starts thinking, and then I remembered hearing or seeing in the fan club that you guys want to see more coloring, and I was like, well, crap, I guess, people want to see coloring. Not crap, don't mean it like that. So then it's like, okay, so what can I color during a live that's not going to take forever, but, and then what can I create that's something different, that's not the same thing that you guys see all the time. So that's where my brain started ticking, and and then all of a sudden, it's like when you're trying to go to sleep, how my brain works, all of a sudden I go, ha, I know. I can do one with something both in and out of the water. So I'm not sure how many of you guys have vellum and stuff laying around your craft space. Hi, Eva. But vellum is just really fun to play with. So I thought it would be a fun way to kind of showcase some of the dyes that we have and give you guys a fun new way to maybe look at it, especially because it doesn't just have to be waves. Like I said before, you can do this with clouds. You can do this with any number of things, but once you start adding that extra element in there, you can kind of create almost like a very thinner dimensional shadow box kind of idea on the front of your card without actually having to make a shadow box card, if you will. So you can make this look more like an aquarium. I mean, I think you see where I'm going with this. So the whole point of some of these ideas is to give you one idea that can really help you explode into a lot of ideas. And that's why when I do these lives, I keep throwing out different ideas and suggestions because I don't want you to just be limited by this one thing that I'm doing. I want you to see how this one thing that I'm doing can really be used in so many other cool applications. Does that make sense? I just did a whole lot of talking. You asked. Oh, brother. Oh no, what's my computer doing? Wake up. And I've got a really good book I'm reading, so after I'm done with the live, I guess I need to take pretty pictures and get all this posted for you guys. And then I'm gonna sit down and read my book. I was actually talking with Lael about this because she likes to read too. You know what, I'm gonna layer it up over this piece. All I'm doing is beefing this up a little bit more so we can just have that extra dimension. But I finished 6 of Crows and just started the second book in the duology, as they call them. I've never heard that before. That was an interesting term. Sequel. And it's so good. And then I learned that it's going to be a Netflix series, so I'm super excited. Now I have to read the other books. See, this is how easy this is to work with. No sticky. And when you go to put it and mount it on your card, guess what? You can move it because you're using wet glue. It doesn't go, oh crap. like with other foam adhesives. You're like, oh geez, now it's stuck. You don't rip your card apart trying to fix it. You could make this a shaker card. You see where I'm going with this? This is what I'm talking about. You could put acetate over the front and then build your layers if you wanted to go that far with it. I just want to start giving you stepping stone ideas, if that makes sense. Because I get excited about this, and I know I'm not the only person that wakes up in the middle of the night going, oh, I have an idea. See how that's building? Isn't that awesome? Now, I'm not gonna do another layer on top of this for that. I don't think it's worth it for me. Well, Lil, it is my job to inspire and enable. I need to come up with a word for both of those. Inspire and enable. So, I can't think of one. I need some help. My brain's too tired. But yeah, see, Alyssa, thank you. And that is why I like to do these. Not because I want to say, hey, look what I can do. Honestly, I swear to you, that is not why I do them. I really do them because I want to help give you guys ideas. Because I know sometimes you want to know how we come up with ideas for all this stuff. Well, this is how we do it. And I hope you know that I'm speaking from myself. You can ask anytime if you've got a question about any project I have done. Past, present, or future, please ask. It is not, I do not keep these things a secret. That's just ridiculous. That defeats the whole purpose of sharing. Okay, so now we're just gonna glue this panel down to our beautiful sun scene. Again, blood splatter would be amazing on this. Yeah. You do need the ocean floor dye. Ocean Scene Builder, I believe is what it's called. Now's the time to get it because you got the discount from the live. Remember, discount code is 03live with Marsha. Oh yeah. And again, see if this were foam tape, you go, oh, if it's not right. But see, because it's not, I can slide it. But see, even without Mr. Chompers in there, that still looks pretty dang cool, right? Yay! Oh, yay. Please tag me when you share some stuff. That just makes my day, okay? So we've built this super cool card. It's got amazing dimension. I hope you can see that. I hope I'm showing it okay. Ugh, I'm blocking light. Forgive me. Now all you have to do is add a Mr. Chompers. And see how cool that's gonna be? So he's gonna be, we can even pop his little nose above the frame because you know, he is just so ferocious. He is launching himself right out of the card to chomper your recipient. That's how much you love them. So, see, right? Aquarium. All you have to do is pull that vellum all the way up or throw acetate there or still create the layers with this. I mean, there's just so many fun things you can do with this. Oh, good, Kathy, I'm glad you like it. So Mr. Chompers is gonna go in here. I don't know that I'm gonna glue him down yet, but see, so even if you make a mistake on the lower half of his body, don't throw it out. The vellum hides it. Or if it doesn't, put another blue layer here and cover the part that does. Or just have him sticking out of a blue wave. You know, just say, well, Chompers is gonna just be beneath the waves on this one and we'll just start again for the vellum one. But as you see, this is just really fun. And so what I thought about doing is because I'm thinking of giving this card to my dad for his birthday this summer is, let's see, which one do I want to use? I thought I Could Eat You Up is just such a fun one, especially, see, exactly, shaker card, right. It's just so perfect because he's literally leaping out of the card to love bite. Love bite your recipient. But you could use any number of these. So And one thing I meant to do and didn't do, so you guys can do this. You could do the Dunna or the Chomp, and you could stamp it in a darker ink, like in the water here. Or I still could do it actually, but I should have done it before I put my framing down. I was gonna do Chomp or Dunna in just a watermark ink or very subtle. So you just, as you're looking at the card, you're like, oh, and then you go, oh, and then you see it. You see what I'm saying? So my sentiment panel, even though I really don't want to stamp over this, I think it looks so cool. I still might dot some blood spray on there for fun. You don't have to put a sentiment on the front too. Remember that. You can stamp it on the inside. You know, so I might just put wishing you a Jocelyn birthday on the inside for my dad, and then just do a Chomp or a Dunna like on a little, you know, stamp it on here and then stick it right here where it's not covering anything because it looks so cool. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm glad you liked that I want to add blood splatter. My dad would be so proud. But anyways, I think my daughters are going to like this too. My daughters love sharks, especially my eldest daughter. We have a bajillion shark books. I mean, they're just amazing creatures. We actually caught a hammerhead shark several months ago. If you guys remind me, I'll try to add the picture. It was by accident. We didn't mean to. And it was fighting the line really well. We were trying to take the boat to a little island here that we go to the beach because it's just really quiet there. And the tides were too high and too rough. We could not anchor the boat. So we were like, well, that really sucks. And the girls wanted to do something. So we threw anchor and we threw the fishing pole in. I am not a fisherman at all. But husband had a fishing pole there. My daughter likes to, you know, just kind of throw it in and reel it, right? So they threw it in. We thought it was going to be a stingray because stingray fight really hard. It's like a really fun, you know, fishing fight. Well, husband told me to grab the net so that I could net whatever the catch was. And when I threw the net in, when he got it close enough, I went, whoa, because it was a hammerhead shark. It wasn't very big, but it was still a dang shark. And so we had to obviously unhook it because you don't want to, please don't be that person. Don't throw the fish back in there with the hook stuck in its mouth. That's just really bad. So we had to try to get the hook out. And let me tell you, my daughter leaned down and they are chompy and they have a lot of teeth. And I swear my stomach dropped right out of my body when it's like, you know, to try to pull her away because he's snapping. I said, okay, girls, this guy, you know, he's suffocating because they need to be in the water and moving. I said, let's try to get a picture quickly. And my youngest one was like, heck to the no. I'm not getting anywhere near that. And my eldest daughter, who is 7 now, was like, I don't know about this, but she stood there close enough so I could take the picture, and then we quickly released him back in so that he could live and start eating all the baby fishies and be ferocious shark. But anyways, that's my personal shark story. Not that you wanted to hear it. I'm tired and I ramble, so this is taking way longer than necessary. So I'm sorry, guys. I hope you enjoyed what we've worked on today, coloring, and you got to see the assembly. Again, if you have any questions about the process, about any process, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help you. And yeah, please tag me. Play with this idea. I cannot wait to see the fun ways you do this. So anyways, take care. Have a beautiful weekend. Enjoy the March weather. I hope it's nice March weather for you. And I'll catch you guys next month. Take care. Bye.